You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as all get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Yeah, the woman is obviously lost or confused. I'm calling you. Last moment desperation. Good to have you with me here. I am not in the Living Bread Studios in Canton, Ohio, home of Mother Angelica. I am, in fact, at Ave Maria Radio here in Ann Arbor for a couple of reasons. Tonight, good Lord permitting, going to be in Plymouth, Our Lady of Good Counsel Parish, 6 o'clock Mass, 7 o'clock pizza, and then, I'm going to do a comedy bit. That's what they want me to do. Is this mic working? Okay, sounds good. Somebody just came in. Apparently they don't even know I'm here. Going to do a comedy bit. And then tomorrow night at the Maumee Theater, been there before, going to do a comedy bit. So I don't know the attendance, but you are more than welcome, and I believe it is free. Hopefully you'll get your money's worth. But tonight at Our Lady of Good Counsel and tomorrow night, the Maumee Theater. Now, I've been told that the Maumee Theater is sold out with a waiting list, which kind of surprised me. But I'm grateful for that. 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program if you'd like to ask a question about something in your life. And it doesn't really need to be even a question. It can be a scenario. It can be something that is bothering you, been bothering you, perplexing you, frustrating you. It can be something that has to do with another person. That's very common. Or your own personal situation, a work situation, parenting situation, something that you have to make a decision on and you're wondering about your options. My professional work is in psychology. I see clients. People ask me that. Do you still see clients? Of course I do. You get stale if you don't, and you have to have some sense of what is going on with the human condition. Therapy is where you can go into great depth about what motivates people, what their thinking is, how they see life, how it interacts with their moral system. On the radio, obviously, you can't do that. It doesn't allow for that. And I don't give therapy here. I don't diagnose at all. You've never heard me diagnose anybody on this program ever. And my rule is, which is an ethical rule, you do not, well, you might, I don't, step into any area where you're seeing a therapist. That's between you and the therapist, or you and the mental health person, or you and the physician, however you're doing that. What I can do is discuss options with you. Choices that you might have, potential ramifications of the choices, help you sort through something. So the number is 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call if you would like to get on the phone, and we can't interface. We can inter-ear. You are the caller. I am the callee. My producer man, Andrew Kruchek, right there across from the plexiglass. And Eric Dumont doing the call screaming. 877-57-EQUAL. The other day I came across pretty close to the most fearless human being I've ever come across. And he's not unique. He has many who share his level of fearlessness. No, I'm not talking about a special forces soldier, first responder, Now, this particular fearless human being was a 4-year-old. How can you say this? Well, easy. I'd estimate that the kid was probably maybe 40 inches tall, maybe a little over 3 feet. Weight-wise, 45 pounds, something like that. You should have seen him stand up to his mother and father. He absolutely refused to do what they wanted him to do. And he not only refused, but he kind of assaulted him. Dad looked to be about 6'1", maybe 205, 210. So, 4 times this young man's weight? 5, maybe. Mom was 5'6". The 4-year-old was fearless. Absolutely fearless. Now, this is not a call that the parents physically hurt him. No. I'm just saying his perception of their authority, the kind of leverage they had in discipline and consequences and limits, appeared to be absent. Totally. And I got to thinking, if I personally, I'm about 5'8", 170, if I showed that kind of fearlessness to someone with the size disproportion compared to me, a grizzly standing on its hind paws, probably about 9 feet. So the grizzly would have to be bigger than that. Okay, let's just round me off to 6 foot. I'm not even close to 6 foot, but just make it easy. Round me off to 6 foot. And the dad was probably twice as tall as this kid. So the kid came up to Dad's mid-thigh. So the grizzly would have to be a big one. I mean, a really big one. One with a pituitary problem. He'd be about 12 feet. 12 feet tall. 2 feet above a basketball rim. Now, weight-wise, let's say Dad was 4 to 5 times this young man. So the grizzly, for me, would be about 800 pounds. It's about right. That's what grizzlies are. And I can't picture myself saying, no, not doing it, get away. Now, I don't understand what it is. There's a certain innate level of human ability to be intimidated. And it's natural. It happens. So, for a 4-year-old not to be intimidated by a parent twice their size, 4 times their weight, saying, you need to go sit down, please. And to look at them and challenge them. Basically, that's what it is challenge. What is it? Now, one might say, well, they just haven't learned what authority is, that they're too immature at that age developmentally. Okay, I got that part. But I think the other part is that they learned that there weren't going to be repercussions. Or if there were, it was going to be after a hefty, how shall we say, volume-filled and emotion-filled interchange. It's always fascinated me, because I think about that. 3-year-old, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, with their parents, when they're asked to cooperate and they don't want to, they can become fearless. Now, I think they haven't learned. Parents of previous generations will tell you that they could get cooperation with just a look, because the look indicated action would be following. I would say that a much smaller percentage of young parents have the look. They don't even know how to make it. Their look is frustration or puzzlement. The kids have the look. I pondered that. Someone that size compared to me, I'd have enough sense to say, okay. But the kids don't. They haven't learned it yet. And they will learn it if the parent acts with some kind of calm, confident authority. But as they get older, if the parent doesn't do that, the fearlessness doesn't go away. But they gain a lot of size. 877-573-7825. 877-57 equal is the number. There's some good questions up there. I welcome your questions always. Talk to you.
Today's programming on 990 WGEO is brought to you in part by a gift from our day sponsor. Our Lady of the Scapular Parish in Wyandotte is having their 51st annual Polish Festival on August 22nd and 23rd. There'll be excellent food, great music, dancing, raffle, and so much more. You won't want to miss this. For more information, visit OurLadyOfTheScapular.org. That's OurLadyOfTheScapular.org.
If you have a message you want to share, be a day sponsor at 877-288-1077. Catholic Charities of Shiawassee and Genesee counties have been providing health and creating hope since 1941. It's the generosity of donors that allows them to provide necessary services such as their warming center, which provides refuge and comfort to thousands in our community. They also offer hot meals in their soup kitchens and help families make ends meet in their community closet. Even the smallest donation makes a meaningful difference. Join us in their mission by giving a donation at CatholicCharitiesFlint.org.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi, host of The Doctor Is In, Ave Maria Radio for 20 years. I've been with them, and during that time I've watched them spread our precious faith to anyone, anywhere. Well, also in that time, their equipment, the equipment that they had is cutting edge, no longer is cutting edge. It's kind of like an iPhone 5. We need your help. We absolutely need your help. Visit AveMariaRadio.net. You're not just donating, you're broadcasting hope.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
I do appreciate so very much your calls. Without you, there is no call-in show. It would be nothing but the callee, me, talking all the time. So I thank you for your patience as I commit to get to all your calls. Let's go to Mary from Ohio. I'm going to argue with her right off the bat, but I'm going to let her have her backdrop on the question before I say, okay, Mary, let's talk about that. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Dr. Ray.
All righty, my dear. How are you? You don't want to say the city in Ohio?
Pardon me?
You said you're from Ohio.
I don't want to say. Yes, I am from Ohio, the great state of Ohio.
I am too.
Just like you.
Yes, ma'am. Are you anywhere near me?
I'm in a little town called West Liberty. Actually, you visited our area not too long ago.
I knew that sounded kind of familiar. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Mary, you were there. You came to the talk and you dozed off twice. I remember that.
Okay, I don't think you're telling the truth.
What makes you think your daughter has borderline personality disorder?
Oh, because I've read up on it, because I cannot figure her out, and it's a roller coaster ride with her for pretty much her whole life. She goes from hating us to loving us to, and now she has 5 children. And my big concern is her children. The oldest one is 14, and he is neurodiverse. and ADD and has some learning disabilities, but I can tell he is on to what's happening when she goes down the rabbit hole, because he'll call us, he'll, FaceTime us or whatever, and then sometimes he'll go, do you want to talk to my mom? Bring the phone over or whatever. But currently she's in a funk about a situation where we have a family place in South Carolina, and they are limiting it to 8 people, and she had her allowed her stepdaughter to bring another friend, and the cousin found out about it and did not react appropriately in our opinion, but at the same time it was her fault. Well, now she expects us to disown the family. And we thought we had it settled and everything seemed fine, and then here a couple of days ago she's back down the rabbit hole and don't call her children. And my husband had surgery yesterday. She didn't even bother to call, hasn't called to check on him. Her children started school today. I haven't gotten any pictures.
Mary, how long has she been this difficult?
Oh, since she was a teenager.
And that would be, 20 years?
No, she is 20 years. Yep.
Okay.
Close to maybe a little bit more, but yep.
So this is nothing new.
No, this is nothing new. We usually get periodic diatribes with less than lovely speech on our texting or talking. I mean, and it's just...
She's still married?
And of course, understand she's mentally ill, and we have unconditional love, but I don't know.
She may not be mentally ill, Mary.
She might not be, huh?
Borderline personality disorder is a pretty serious disorder, and a lot of times it is put upon people who are just living their lives poorly, hard to get along with, difficult, self-centered, narrow-minded, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, a borderline personality oftentimes has pathology involved with it, like gambling, serial sexual affairs, sometimes slipping into psychosis. Yeah, it's serious. And I know when you went to the internet and to read the description, it's easy to diagnose somebody because the traits described are very broad. And, when they say things like a total self-absorption, you go, oh, that's her. Oh, my gosh, she's so self-absorbed.
No, and she's not self-absorbed. She loves her children. She's a good mother. And her husband is a saint, in my opinion, because he has to deal with her going down the rabbit hole on a regular basis. Sometimes I wonder if it's hormonal, because sometimes it's, certain times of the month that she goes down the rabbit hole.
Well, let's say, Mary, say that we could give you a full personality description along with all the causes, okay? How would that help you?
It wouldn't. That's why I'm calling you. I'm calling you to find out how I can best deal with her.
How you best deal with her is you don't let her get to you. You know that she's perfectly capable of going through these spells. You know she's perfectly capable of getting angry for long periods of time and deciding she doesn't want to have anything to do with you, and that the grandkids are going to be kept from you. And as they get older, they're going to realize their mom is pretty difficult, as your 14-year-old grandson is starting to realize. So you know this. So it's no surprise when she does this. Your frustration over the last 20 years has been because, why does she do this? When is she going to stop doing this? Why does she
How can she stop doing this?
She can't. I mean, I don't know that. I'm not God. But I'm just simply saying.
And she is. She is seeing a psychiatrist.
Okay. Well, my guess would be.
And on some medication.
Okay. My guess would be that she doesn't see herself as difficult as you see her. Is that a safe statement?
Yes.
Okay. So when someone does not see themselves as the problem, when she says, unless you write off that other family, you won't hear from me, and she doesn't see that, as unreasonable, she thinks she's perfectly justified, then you recognize who you're dealing with. And you realize that probably, if her pattern stays the same in 3 months, she'll come back around and you'll go through a relative period of calm and peace until the next one. Correct? Yep. And that is it. That is the status. That is the way your daughter has acted for 20 years. That may be the very way she'll act for the next 20. And if you're saying, but wait a minute, I've got to see how to reach her. No. Your goal is to not let her distress you as much as she has. That's your goal.
But what about her kids?
Well, my dear, the problem there, you can't do a thing about that. You could be a grandma if she lets you, and you can spend time with them alone. You can talk with them. But you can't do anything about the way they're being raised. You can't do anything about whatever emotional flip-flop she goes through. You can't.
But what about confronting her with that fact?
Oh, and you know what I'll bet she'll say, Mary? I'll bet she'll say, oh, Mom, I never thought about that. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me, that my motherhood has deficiencies, and it's affecting my children. Wow, I never looked at it that way, Mom. Or do you think she'll blow up on you? Right. Right.
You're telling me there's absolutely nothing I could do except not let it affect me.
Pretty much.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Think about it.
That was helpful.
Think about this. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
She's still doing it. You said she's a good mom. So here's where I'm confused. If she's a good mom, why are you worried about the kids? You also said that
the oldest one's recognizing it now.
Well, he is.
And it bothers him that she tries to keep him away from us or them away from us.
I understand that. Yeah, I know it does. Sure it did. And it's going to bother him. And until he's 18, 19, 20, and he realizes, I want to see my grandma. And he's in college, and he has some freedom, he'll probably realize, I don't have to stay away from grandma. But until then, she may use him as a weapon.
I guess the part that's sad to me is that he's already got issues. I mean, he's a great kid. He's just a joy to be around. We just took him to New York City for a trip. He was wonderful. But the diagnosis is he's not autistic, but he's neurodiverse. He's learning disabilities. I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to leave his, be able to leave his parents. I mean, I hope so, but. So that makes it even harder, seeing him distressed about the whole situation.
When people say, there are those in my life who are very close to me who have had a very long-standing pattern of being extremely difficult and unpredictable and emotional and accusatory and hostile, and they don't see they're that way, and I have tried to reconcile with them in various ways for 20 years, at some point you say, this is who they are, and I will enjoy the moments of peace, and I will do what I can to help those kids out within the limits she allows. But short of that, Mary, you're helpless.
Okay, Dr. Ray, I'll take your word on it.
Hey, you know what? Dear, you don't have to take my word. You're going to find that out.
I've already found that out.
Yes, I know. I
guess I'll just keep praying to my gal, St. Monica, and hope she comes back to church. The good thing is she's had all of her children baptized in the Catholic Church, so we're very happy about that.
The girl.
And we take up the church every chance we get. So.
There you go. See, you're doing stuff. I'm predicting from the past. I'm very good at that. Before I go to your calls, doing the last-minute push for audience members in Buffalo. Good Lord permitting, next week, August 19th and 20th, we will be in the Station of the Cross area turf. We were there some 6 years ago to tape 4 Living Right with Dr. Ray TV shows. Wonderful reception from the folks. They made the shows work. They made them work a lot better than I did. The audience is so key to the energy of the show. They are so key for questions. They are so key for banter. I mean, the audience is an absolute integral part of the show. You do not just sit there and watch as I do my own acrobats and stunts. Nope. You are it. So, if you'd like to be in that audience, go to thestationofthecross.com, the website, and they've got the sign-up. 5 and 7:15 shows, August 19th, August 20th at WNED, the PBS studio there in downtown Buffalo. Beautiful place. Wonderful place. A special attraction, Father Larry Richards, who has been a part of that TV show for 6-minute segments called Living the Faith the whole time we've been on the air. Well, he's going to be there live. And I've noticed that the numbers on Tuesday night when he's there are a lot higher when just I'm there. When he's there, so far, we've got 822 people. When it's just me on Wednesday night, we've got 4. Well, maybe not quite, but I know there's a difference. But he will be there, and we're going to have some fun with Father Larry, too, and he'll take your questions, too. So if you like Father Larry Richards, and even if you don't like me, you can put up with me to meet with Father. So, thestationofthecross.com. Any number of shows, 1, 2, 3, 4. And please bring the kids because one of my bits is going to involve a child anywhere between the age of 8 and 10. All right? David, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I was just on your diocesan podcast, probably not more than a week ago. And from what I understand, that's a pretty well-viewed podcast. He said 37,000 followers, which is awfully good. So nice to have you, David.
Yeah, good to hear from you. My point is it could snow in Buffalo. I went to graduate school there when you were there.
So summer's just about over. Their summer's from July 7th to August 1, and then they head into winter.
Yeah. And the other point is that for that lady, my clinical experience is that bipolar, if she is bipolar or borderline, they improve with age. So that's hopeful.
Well, maybe they run out of fire, huh?
Well, something triggers a more stable mindset. My point to you today is the church embracing secular psychology points of view and the benefit of people having a faith in psychotherapy. What's your take on that?
I have believed that in many places, and it depends upon the diocese, that in fact they have given too much credence to some of the notions that are very popular in psychology. Things like self-image, the heavy emphasis on pathology. One of the areas where that came out, and I got in big trouble for this, David, this was many, many years ago, the early 2000s. Remember when the scandal hit about some of the priests?
Yeah.
Well, I was on a program where the question was, why did some of the clerics shunt these guys around? I made the observation that they were being told, at least some of them were being told, by the psychological consultants that they turned to, that these things could be handled therapeutically, which is not to say they can't, but they were given, I think, the impression that they were more easily fixable than they were. And they followed the advice of a lot of psychologists. And when I brought that up, I got skewered. I just flat out got skewered. The guy interviewing me, and you'd know him if I told you who he was, he went nuts. that I said something like that. Well, it turned out to be there was some truth to that. So, yeah, you're right. I think, for example, I'll give you another example. There for a while, and I don't know how much this is still being practiced, but it's not unusual for seminarians to be tested, to be interviewed by psychologists to find out about not only their emotional stability, but it turned out about their sexual views. Meaning, if they had traditionally moral sexual views, some of them were weeded out. They didn't have enough open-mindedness towards the various sexual attractions. And that happened. And I don't know how much some of that is still happening. I have no idea. But I know it happened. So you're right. I think the danger is to lean too much toward the expertise of the experts when you don't realize that the experts, by and large, are coming from a very secular, non-religious perspective. Most of them. So it all comes down to that. And you had a second question there, David?
That's pretty much it. The other point is that you and I are not shrinks. A shrink is a psychiatrist.
Well, that's true, and you're right. Technically, you're right, but I'm using the term in a very umbrella way for anybody who works on the head.
Yeah.
By the way, do you know where the word shrink came from?
I imagine witch doctors.
Yes, that's right. Head shrinkers. These were the guys that were supposed to understand the human condition in the primitive tribes, and I don't know the whole thing behind head shrinking, but it used to be we were called head shrinks, and then, of course, as happens over time, the name gets shrunk, and then we're just down to shrink.
Right. Strict Freudian.
Yes, sir. What is your degree in, David?
Psychology. Counseling psych.
You know, I'll bet, if you're like me, I'll bet that much of what you were exposed to in grad school, you realize just doesn't fit reality.
No, if I had read the Bible, that's all I would need.
When I was in grad school, I was pretty secular. I mean, yes, I was Catholic and I still went to church, but I pretty much got swallowed up by the secular thinking in grad school. But even at that, there was a part of me that was skeptical. Some of the things they told me about and the ways that I had to look at things. For example, small example, David, maybe you got this one too. We were told you never ask about religion. You do not have...
in a vague way, yes.
Yeah. You do not have a moral judgment. You make no moral judgments. Well, that in and of itself is a moral judgment. Well, thank you. It's good to have solid colleagues who have a worldview that respects what many of our clients come to us with. Thank you, David. Thank you for calling, sir. This is Dr. Ray, 877-57-EQUAL. Sure want to talk to you. Well, we had some calls up there, but they went away. I always wonder why that happens. You know what it is? We're a little over halfway through the program, so if you'd like to get on, the rule is we don't take calls necessarily in chronological order, although that's a component. But oftentimes it depends upon the question. If we had something similar maybe a day or two earlier, then that question will get dealt with, and I oftentimes try to take it from a different angle. But at the same time, there are many factors. So if you call sometimes late in the program, that doesn't mean, oh boy, I'm going to jump in line after everybody else. No, not necessarily at all. So we'll get that call for a second. I do want to make a comment about the interface between psychology and religion. I have two books that deal directly with that. One is called Thinking Like Jesus, The Psychology of a Faithful Disciple. The other is Jesus, the Master Psychologist. in the Jesus, the Master Psychologist book, I take 18 of our Lord's beautiful prescriptions for living a better life, and I talk about why they make psychological sense. That Jesus was obviously 2 millennia ahead of much in modern psychology, and at the same time, he conflicts directly with modern psychology. So those 2 books, as David questions spurred me on some time back, I got questions like that. I love the intersection between faith and psychological principles. They both can be true in their own dimension, and many times they overlap well. Okay, let's go to Gina Mo. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, that's Gina from Missouri. Hi, Gina.
Hello. So my question is, I would like to have a better relationship with my daughter-in-law. Her and my son has been married about a year, dated for, I think, 4 years. And we just never really connect. They live at 2 hours from us, so we don't get to see them, all the time. So I'm just trying to figure out how to have a better relationship with my daughter-in-law. Get the conversation, kind of get talking. I'll ask her questions, and usually it's, I try to stay away from yes and no answers, but I try to get her to elaborate, try to feel comfortable, talking to me. So I'm trying to figure out what can I do, what can I help to, just cultivate this relationship.
Did it start out that way from the beginning, where she just started dating your son, or has it been kind of getting uneasy with time?
Well, it started out a little bumpy, as all of us, we'd like to see our kids, make wise choices. So when my son started dating her, it wasn't like 4 months or something, they started living together, and we were like, what? And then so we were like, told our son, that we didn't like that, but that's his choice. So that was, kind of a rough patch there. I mean, we didn't constantly hammer him or anything. We just told him, sat him down and said, that's not a good idea. And then of course, she becomes pregnant before they get married, and they're like, oh my gosh. So there again, we sat down and go, this is not right to do that. And then we move on. It's not something we constantly bring up.
Well, you know what though, Gina?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't move on.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what happened. I think.
So how do I help that? How do I?
Yeah.
I've talked to my son and said, I says, we've come to accept. We don't like what you guys did, but we come to accept it. We still love you. I still pray for you. I still want you all in our lives. And I asked my son, I said, how can I connect with her? I want her to feel welcome. I don't want to have a riff. I want her to feel welcome. So I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, typically, you don't have any idea how insecure she might be about all this.
Mm-hmm.
In her view, we're not doing anything wrong. This is what young people do. They live together. And a lot of them have a baby together. So, come on, man. That's you guys' way. It's not ours.
All right.
And so even though you said, we love you, we accept you, we just don't like the way this has come about, unfortunately, we now live in a culture where the young people especially, you can't do that. You got to go, yay, yay, yippee, yippee, celebrate, celebrate. How wonderful. Oh, this is tremendous. And you didn't do that. Now, right. I'm not saying you were wrong in not doing that, not at all. But I'm saying now she thinks, well, I know how your parents think. I know they think. They don't accept me. They don't like what I did to their son. I got pregnant out of wedlock, et cetera, et cetera. So she's probably, there's one of two things going on. One, she's either ill at ease because she's insecure about all this, or her attitude is, you know what, I really don't want to get that close to your parents anyway because they're too different from us. Now, I don't know which it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. I would say this. Here's what you can't do. And it sounds like, Jeannie, you've already done it because you sound like you got a lot of good sense surrounding this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
Yeah. I try not to do that. I try really hard.
Because if you do even anything, it's just going to add to her opinion already that you don't accept us and the way we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, I don't have any doubts that your son probably told her all about what you told him.
Oh, sure.
Of course. So, yeah, your son is your son. And so he knows, loves you, has a history with you. She doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So she's either threatened by you, angry at you, whatever it is. It sounds like from what you're describing, she just wants to give you minimal information about anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is, one, watch the opinions, and two, ask a lot of questions that relate to her life. How's the pregnancy gone? What have you had names on the baby? Is there, the date, the due date, all of that. Just so you at least show her we're celebrating this baby's life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have
we have the baby. Yeah, the baby's here.
The baby's here.
9
Okay.
months.
And she lets you see the baby and all that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does. I mean, she's 9 months old, and, at first I wasn't sure how to act with, a baby or how I would feel about this baby. But, oh, my gosh, I'm in love with this little baby. I mean, this is my first
They do that to you, hon. They do that to you.
They do. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, they do. They do, we see them at least maybe once a month. So, yeah, I mean, that's not an issue, but just like I said, I'm just trying to develop a good relationship with my daughter-in-law.
Yeah, you're going to have to show her that all of that, the way it started, is no longer relevant.
Okay.
That anything that she smells, that you're still thinking, this certainly didn't go the way we hoped it would go. Mm-hmm. If she smells that, it'll just keep it alive because she's ultra sensitive to it. And Gina, this is not you condoning this. This is not you saying, well, if I don't really bring it up every once in a while, they're going to think I'm perfectly happy with all this. No, you've already spoken your piece. Your son knows how he was raised. So that issue's done. So by treating her with all kinds of warmth and love, you may soften her, and she may realize, gee, I got off on a bad foot with my mother-in-law. Does she do this to your husband, by the way?
She don't talk a whole lot to him as well. She just doesn't open up, to our family. But, she talks to him just a little bit more than she does me. So I think she feels a little more comfortable around my husband than she does me. And I know it's probably a woman thing.
Well, I will tell you this. The biggest source of friction intergenerationally is mother-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
And it's a big one.
Yeah. So. Oh, I have friction with my mother-in-law, so
it's genetic.
So that's why I don't want to have friction with with my own daughter-in-law. I know how it feels.
You be warm around her, immerse yourself in that little girl, and show her how much Grandma just absolutely adores her little daughter, and she'll find out that you're not a threat, and she may soften up. Or you could just simply be dealing with somebody that's insecure, and in fact she's just going to be delicate or cautious about how she interacts.
Gotcha.
All righty, my dear. Hey, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Bye, Gina. This is Dr. Ray.
Every woman deserves specialized health care. At Arbor Women Health, Our team of compassionate professionals listen to our patients and want to understand what they're going through. They serve everyone from teen girls to seniors. Our faith-based clinicians specialize in obstetrics, gynecology, fertility awareness and crisis, or unexpected pregnancies. Call 734-930-4020 or visit arborwomenhealth.org. Arbor Women, faith-inspired, dignity-affirming healthcare.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Ray Guarendi, host of The Doctor is In, Ave Maria Radio for 20 years. I've been with them, and during that time, I've watched them spread our precious faith to anyone, anywhere. Well, also in that time, their equipment, the equipment that they had is cutting edge, no longer is cutting edge. It's kind of like an iPhone 5. We need your help. We absolutely need your help. Visit AveMariaRadio.net. You're not just donating, you're broadcasting hope.
Remember to take a minute this week to thank a priest you know for all the blessings he shares through his vocation. Let us encourage them and express our gratitude for all of their sacrifices. Saying something like, "Thank you for baptizing our children." Nominate your priest at thankyouforyourpriesthood.com. A new contest every month through September 2025, brought to you by Diocesan, your Catholic advertising and communications company.
I don't think we've replaced our siding since we moved in 20 years ago. But I'm sure it's still fine, right?
We better call Mighty Dog Roofing of Ann Arbor.
Damaged siding can cause mold buildup and weaken your home structure. Protect your family by calling local Catholics Dan and Mary Flanagan at Mighty Dog Roofing for a free inspection of your siding, roof, or windows. Mighty Dog Roofing, 734-224-4916. That's 734-224-4916.
Grandpa came from Italy. Never lost his Italian accent because he came at age 17. Something about puberty. Speech pathologists will tell you this. Speech therapists, they'll say there is a certain wiring in that takes place in speech patterns in puberty. That if you get here before puberty and you learn your second language, you don't have the accent from your first language spilling over. Well, my grandfather didn't. So he had a pretty strong Italian accent. Even when I knew him, he was 65, and I thought, whoa, he is a major league old man. 65. That don't seem so old to me now. 60 is the new 40. Yeah, but 9 is the new midnight. So given that, my grandfather, I know it. If he were alive, he died, oh boy, Papo died when I was 23. Yeah, 10 years ago. Whew, hard to believe. He would ask me, Ramit, what do you do? Oh, I mostly speak, Grandpa. You speak? Like you talk? You mean you say things? Yeah, to people. And he'd wait and he'd pause. You mean that they pay you for that? He couldn't understand it. He was a laborer, worked hard all his life, union medal in Canton, Ohio. And Papo had more child-rearing sense with his, I believe, 6th grade education than I think many highly educated people now do who are getting chewed up by their 5-year-old. He was 27. He married my grandmother. She was 15. Her father was totally against this. Papo saw my grandmother, called her Mamo. He said, I'm going to marry that girl. So they courted, absolutely. 3 meetings, all in the living room area of my great-grandfather's house, my grandmother's father, and they sat there. as her father sat there. And him being 27, her being 15, you know that marriage just was not destined to last. Yeah, no. Only made it 53 years until he passed away. But in those days, it was much more viewed that you persevered. No matter how difficult things came, you persevered. And he did. And when he died, I saw my poor grandmother just collapse. It's just collapse. But she was, he died at 80, and she was 68. And when she first saw him in the funeral home, my gosh, we had to hold her upright, because she just kept saying, "Angelo, my Angelo, Angelo." So, not exactly how it's done now, but in those days, you were married, and you were married for life. The divorce rate at that time was well under 5%. All right, well, thanks for letting me reminisce and going back. I appreciate it so very much, keeping me company here. Hope to see you tonight at Our Lady of Good Counsel in Plymouth, and also in Buffalo next week. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio, and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.